Wasabi guys, welcome back to another Top 10 Commander video. This time we're going to be taking a look at my picks for the top 10 cards of 2022. To clear things up here, there are going to be legendary creatures on this list, but they're here because of how they fit into the 99. Because to me that is a totally different aspect of the game, and you of course value these cards for different reasons. Before I get into it, if you have not already, please subscribe to the channel, I would really appreciate it. We're past 47,000 subs, which is insane to me. Been doing this for 5 years, and it's mostly because I enjoy it, but your support makes this even easier for me to do. And I just want to say thank you so much. Number 10 is Professional Facebreaker, the only red card on my top 10. Red got a lot of decent cards, but red doesn't really get S tier cards that often. At least not in 2022. Professional Facebreaker is the only thing that I would say is close to S tier. It offers you more of that treasure token support. That has been a huge emphasis for Wizards of the Coast and how they want to make red a little bit more competitive, seeing as it's not going to ramp that well, and you're not going to be able to recover as easily in red compared to other colors. So getting more treasure tokens, getting them quicker, rewarding yourself for combat, which is something red can do pretty easily, it's a perfect combination. In addition to that though, you also get a bit of an engine here where you can sacrifice a treasure to exile the top card of your library and you get to play that card this turn. Prosper Tomebound probably being the best commander option of 2021, this is a perfect card for that strategy, and that's a strategy that still sees a decent amount of play. But independent of fitting into that commander option, I think what we just have here is a solid all-around red creature, and in my opinion, the best red card of 2022. Number 9, we have Elas Il-Kor, Sadistic Pilgrim. Again, this is a legendary creature, but I'm not considering it here because of its ability to be a solid commander, but rather because it can fit into pretty much any black and white deck, and it synergizes pretty easily with what those strategies want. You get that here on only 2 mana. So creatures entering the battlefield under your control, it's going to gain you life. Creatures you control dying, it's going to have your opponents lose life. It's nothing brand new, we knew exactly how this would play in Commander, and because it's only 2 mana, it made it incredibly easy to justify for those players. It not only fits into the black and white aristocrat themes, but it also fits into those 5-color legendary themes. It's just passively good. It sits on the field, and as long as you're able to pay attention to exactly what's going on with your board and how that interacts with your opponent's life totals, it's going to put in work and it's going to make the game a lot easier for you. Number 8 is Displacer Kitten. Kind of an overlooked card now, but during Battle for Baldur's Gate, in my opinion, this is one of the best cards from that whole set. Blink has always been powerful in Commander. You go back 10 years, people were abusing Blink strategies, and even today, Blink strategies are still going to be powerful. This, however, is going to take advantage of non-creature spells. So casting non-creature spells, it's going to help you blink another non-land permanent you control, which is important. It's not just a pure creature blink card. This is also going to help you with artifact ETBs, it's going to help you with enchantment ETBs, so that's really cool. But because it returns it to the battlefield immediately, and it's not one of those end-step deals, it offers you a lot of combo potential. So you have flexibility here, even if you're just looking at it as a solid blue card, it's going to put in work. If you want a combo, it's going to be nasty. So for me, this is an easy pick, one of the best blue cards of 2022. Number 7 is Black Market Connections. Over the past few years, Black has had this powerful transformation, and it seems to be moving away from the traditional, here's Phyrexian Arena, it does one thing and it does one thing pretty well. But if you want options, you have Black Market Connections. Granted, you will be losing more life if you're only interested in card draw, but you have flexibility here. If you don't need the card draw, you need treasure tokens, that's only going to cost you 1 life. If you need creature presence, you can get yourself a 3/2 for 3 life. And this is a really expensive card and it still sees a decent amount of play in Commander, which tells me that if it ever got a reprint and it became cheaper, it would see even more play. This is what's really appealing in Commander, having options. Because you have several opponents, your goals are constantly changing. You need to react to certain things that are going on the board, and Black Market Connections is a solid enchantment to have sit out there. Number 6 is Archivist of Ogma. Another Battle for Baldur's Gate card. We've had 3 of these in a row. It was such a good set. I think this is probably the best card though. White, similarly to Black, has gone through a major power transformation over the past few years, where there's more of an emphasis on card draw, card advantage in general, and just keeping up with the other more competitive cards. What I appreciate about cards like these with Flash, that are really in response to your opponent's decks, like for instance, if they're playing a land strategy, they're more likely to play fetch lands. And because fetch lands are going to help your opponent search their library, you'll be able to benefit. But you have to be aware of the situation, which means you could potentially misplay. You may miss a perfect opportunity to draw cards. If you are fully aware of the situation and what's going on, this could be one of the most powerful cards played in an entire game. It is ridiculous to get that much extra card draw in white. And similar to why I like Elasil Core, the less mana you have to spend and the more power you get in return, the better the card's gonna be. Number 5 is Braid's Arisen Nightmare. We get another 3-mana black card, this time from Dominaria United. And the justification is going to be similar to that of Black Market Connections. As a card in the 99, let's look at a great card like Phyrexian Arena. It was considered to be a staple for a long time in black, but after looking at Black Market Connections and Braids, you get more for 3 mana, you get more options. In addition to potentially drawing more cards, you're maybe convincing your opponents to sacrifice their artifacts, their creatures, enchantments, lands, or planeswalkers if they don't want you to draw cards. And not only that, but if they do let you draw a card, they have to lose 2 life. So there's so much going on here for only 3 mana, a 3/3. This is the new standard in black. Cheaper but more powerful cards that allow you to do more things. Number 4 is Sheoldred the Apocalypse. You probably saw this coming. Easily the best black card of 2022, and it's in no way because of the commander option potential. This is just a really nasty, disgusting black card. The one-sided Praetor advantage, where each time you draw a card you gain 2 life, each time an opponent draws a card they have to lose 2 life. And if the life loss is a factor into why I think Braids would be good, you better believe it's a major factor as to why Sheoldred is powerful. Once you play Sheoldred, the entire game becomes how do we survive Sheoldred? That's the sign of a really good black card, when the entire game warps around it. Is it potentially power creep that we just get constantly more and more powerful black cards? We just get cards like Tergrid, we get the Meathook Massacre, and of course the other 2 black cards on this list. Black is doing really well. Number 3 is an offer you can't refuse from Streets of New Capenna. Counterspells make a difference, especially if you're more interested in the competitive side of things. Regardless, 1 mana to counter target non-creature spell is incredibly efficient. If you only have to leave up 1 blue mana, it's better than negate. Explaining the benefit of cheaper counterspells to newer players, it's a little bit hard because they're going to see the 2 treasure tokens and immediately discount the card. Why would I ever want to give my opponents that advantage? Because not having to pay that much mana in return and stopping a problem from happening is entirely worth it. This is the best counterspell of 2022, and for a lot of decks it became an auto-include. You also have the naysayers who want a pure counterspell, they want it to counter creature spells as well. Non-creature spells are going to be the majority of what's causing you problems in the first place. Things like board wipes, targeting removal, mass graveyard retrieval, maybe something like a Living Death. Actual plays that are going to affect the board, an offer you can't refuse, is a very much needed blue counterspell. Speaking of non-creature spells you would probably want to counter, Farewell from Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. Comparing this to Austere Command, you might have a preference for that card, but if you're just evaluating the strength here, being able to choose 1 or more, you could choose all of the above here and exile all artifacts, creatures, enchantments, and graveyards. That is just so good, and it's still a 6 mana sorcery. I'm not going to say things like strictly better when it comes to this because there are advantages to Austere Command even still, but more decks are going to want Farewell. Why? Because exiling removal is better. And also why? Because it's not just affecting the board, it's affecting the graveyards. There's so many decks, so many land strategies even that benefit off of a large graveyard. So hitting all of those is very beneficial. Goes back to Black Market Connections as well, having different options, having different modes. It's what's appealing to the average Commander player. But number 1 is Ledger Shredder from Streets of New Capenna. Yes, it is a bit more expensive than I think the average Commander player would want to spend for a card like this, but its power is undeniable. Spellslinger decks want this card. Mill strategies would want this card. Any kind of graveyard strategy in blue would want this card. Because Connive is just a solid all-around ability, and it's only on a 2-mana creature that has potential to become large and actually threaten a decent amount of damage itself. Don't be too distracted by the fact that it is a popular card in smaller formats. Once its price goes down, once it ever gets a reprint, it'll be one of those staple creatures in blue. Sitting on the field waiting for your opponents to cast only their second spell on their turns. Mind you, this also includes you when you cast your second spells. That's Rhystic Study levels of amazing. It's not lasting card advantage, it is more of a loot, but still, combining a loot with making this 2-mana flyer even larger, putting those non-land cards into your graveyard I think is very easy. It's great for casual play if you want to be more competitive. I can only imagine it would be even better. But again, you are going to be paying a premium for a card like this because of its impact elsewhere. Some honorable mentions. I don't want to end the video without talking about Silverback Elder, my personal favorite green card of the year. You get what you want out of these 3 modes. Whenever you cast a creature spell, you get great removal, you can get to your next lands, You can gain 4 life. What's not to like? Awaken the Woods is a card that I kind of slept on, I'm not going to lie, but if you have a specific land strategy where benefiting off of all these different land drops would make an impact, then this is maybe the best card all year for you. And I love the card Smuggler's Share. It's another example of this advantage in white that's slowly been building up. It's responding to your opponents drawing more cards and getting more lands. This is the new identity for white, leveling the playing field. That's going to do it for this video, my top 10 cards of 2022. Let me know what you enjoyed in 2022. Hope you guys have a good end of the year. Commander Void signing off. I will see you all next time.